So, My Hero Academia, chapter 314 translations are out for this chapter, and let me just say, based off what I saw in the spoilers and based off this chapter alone, oh yeah, no, this chapter was a lot more intense than I thought it would actually be, even to the point where I just read it, I'm like, so yeah, let's get right into the chapter review right after this intro. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review, this time reviewing manga chapter 314 titled The Beautiful Lady Nagant. And I have to say, she is a very, very beautiful lady. But yeah, when it comes to this chapter of My Hero Academia, we do get a lot when it comes to the fight between Deku versus Lady Nagant, and not necessarily combat. We do see combat in this chapter, but we actually more or less focusing on what I most likely predicted was going to happen in this chapter. Deku and Lady Nagant basically having a conversation, and Deku trying to relate to her. And through him trying to relate to her, we get a lot of bombshells for how Hero Society functioned, or should I say functioned, and oh boy, it is horrifying with the implications that we see in this chapter. And before we get more right into the actual review proper, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Blue Drew 97. If you like My Hero Academia content, I do discussions, spoilers, as well as reviews on each chapter of My Hero Academia as soon as it comes out. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's something that you find fascinating, then subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button. And without the way, let's get right into the review. So, we start this chapter off how we ended last chapter, with Deku using his new quirk, Fajin, to grab Lady Nagant by her left arm, and that's very important that he grabbed her by her left arm, as he basically declares to her that, "It's over, I've taken you hostage, now tell me everything that you know about All for One," as we have them both thinking about how Deku, how he's only able to use smokescreen, and how she was able to get through the decoys, but he thinks that by luring her and capturing her was a success, as Lady Nagant also thinks to herself that, man, this kid is faster than I thought, even with like the smoke, that he was able to figure something out. As Deku talks to Lady Nagant and asking her to tell him all about All for One, she's like, "Oh, do you really think that you've won?" And she retracts the sniper rifle back into her right arm, points her elbow at Deku, and releases the sniper rifle, sending him flying back. And if you thought that the fight was ended just because Deku was able to use Fajin and thought that he was able to capture Lady Nagant, no. Because, yeah, she's a skilled fighter trained by the commission, and she even brings it up as like, yo, I was trained by the Public Safety Commission for any situation, and she tries to fire at Deku after she released her sniper rifle, but unfortunately Deku was just too fast, as he begins to ask her, "Why are you working for someone like All for One? You were supposed to be a hero. He plans on dominating the world. Why would you want to work for him?" As she begins to give her explanation by calling out Deku's quote-unquote justice as being something that was created by society, and that he is blindly following all of this, and that he could never truly understand, as Deku's like, blindly? As Deku also comes to a realization of, oh, yeah, the third user was right. He warned me about this. Yeah, I still need to learn how to use multiple quirks at once. Shit, as he once again gets fired at by Lady Nagant, but luckily enough, he is still able to dodge it, but this time, she didn't send a normal bullet, she sent a radio bullet, as she begins basically talking to Deku, saying that she's tired, and that she's killed enough, and she had to preserve this fake society of ours, as Deku is dodging multiple sniper rounds from Lady Nagant, and we have to remember, he's doing this at close range, so he's dodging all of these attacks while Lady Nagant is basically talking to him. And this is where we kind of get more into understanding who Lady Nagant is as a character, what she's gone through, and what she's done to actually preserve Hero Society, as Deku and even us as the viewers know so far. And you have Lady Nagant basically giving a slight monologue about a group of terrorists planning to take on some heroes and how they're a hero team associated with a villain organization, and how they plan to have a terrorist attack that could shake the very foundation of society, and how they just suddenly disappeared without being convicted by the court of law, and how they were all taken out under the care of the secret orders of the Public Safety Commission, as we basically go into like sort of like a mini, like a flashback more or less about Lady Nagant and her past, and how we get a little bit understanding of like how superhero society came into being, because superhero society as we know it right now derived from vigilantes, derived from people using their quirks to try and help people. That heroes of today came from the vigilantes, and how people began putting their faith in them, and then that from there, that's how this superpowered society came into flourishing, by having superheroes from vigilantes, and how she believes that she was just a cog in the machine, how she was just a piece to preserve that quote-unquote trust, as we see images of a younger Lady Nagant taking out most likely this group of terrorists, as we get this one panel where she talks about how she works in both the shadows and the light, and you have this one individual who's screaming and he's crying and he's pleading that they haven't done anything yet, and they were just planning to, as we possibly get the explanation that he was shot dead by Lady Nagant, as we cut over to another panel of Lady Nagant just covered in blood, as she said that she was required to keep our society functioning by following the orders of the Hero Commission, and she just obeyed, as we get this one panel that I really want to talk about, as we see this dude with blood spurting out the middle of his head, as we also see a panel of a curving bullet going through another guy's head. And this is graphic. It's not like explicitly gory, but the fact that you just see a person shooting someone, we don't see the actual like person taking the shot and the bullet physically going through the head, but just the implications of what we're seeing right now. How Lady Nagant could just easily, and I think that she's killing multiple people at once, is just able to kill people with ease. You remember how My Hero Academia used to be a story about Deku trying to be the #1 hero while going up against villains to achieve that dream? Yeah, no, it's not just that. Deku now has to basically go up against the false reality created by Hero Society, as well as the consequences that come from it, which includes Lady Nagant, who is also responsible for keeping Hero Society afloat. Fun story for children. So yeah, that's something that when I saw it, I'm like, wow, we are actually going there. We're actually seeing someone, like, we've seen like implied death. We've seen people like be destroyed by Shigaraki, but we haven't really seen that much blood. We've seen other characters, once again, through Shigaraki killing them with a lot of blood. But we've also seen characters that you could imply, like, oh, maybe they're still alive, and then we learned that they're dead. This is the first time where we've literally seen someone just straight up get shot in the head and die by the hands of a hero. Just think about that. Just let that fester in your head, because we're going to get tied right into, like, why this is very important in the story. So with that long tangent aside, let's cut back to the flashback, where we also get a few more panels of Lady Nagant being accosted by these little children that's like, oh my gosh, you're a hero, I love you, we're your biggest fan, can I shake your hand? As Lady Nagant's like, ah, sure, it's fine. And then Lady Nagant extends her hand to try to shake the hands of the kids, specifically her right hand. As she extends it, she sees it being covered in blood and immediately pulls it back. And it was at this moment Lady Nagant realized she had PTSD. And as the children begin to ask her for a handshake, Lady Nagant begins to think about how fragile Hero Society actually is. As we also cut over to another scene where she's saying that she's tired, and she's looking over an entire cityscape and thinking to herself that it's all fake, and that this would be the beginning of her breaking point, as she begins to talk once again to actually the current head of the Hero Commission at that time. This man, I do not think we get a name for him, but he's basically giving her another mission, and this mission is probably going to be, and is the mission that completely breaks her. So you have Lady Nagant and the current head of the Hero Commission right now, as he's basically telling her that, okay, you see these two people? Yeah, they're creating villains, they're taking them in, and they're getting rewards. We need these two heroes to disappear. As Lady Nagant is beginning to like question what she's doing, and she's thinking to herself, by killing these two, is she genuinely making a better society? And here's the thing, she even goes into the point of like, isn't it like kind of like brainwashing to show the public like this type of like society? How is this no different from brainwashing? Is what she begins to tell the head of the Hero Commission, as he begins to say, Nagant, you know what you're doing is necessary, right? It's here to maintain the peace that the heroes are trying to push up. As Lady Nagant's like, maintaining, but what's beyond just maintaining? As you have him once again, he's like, I'm sure you're aware, you know what residing means, right? As she just looks at the chairman as she says, I respect you, as she pulls out her sniper rifle. And it is confirmed that she murdered the Public Safety Commission chairman at the time, and that Deku comes to a realization that, wait 1 second, that is totally not what was reported. So the chairman was killed by a hero? As Lady Nagant is like, yeah, that's something that the Hero Commission would try to sweep under the rug. You know, you don't want the public knowing that a hero that worked for the Safety Commission killed the head, so, you know, they just swept it under the rug. Anything that bad goes inside of the actual Hero Commission, they just sweep it under the rug. It's fine. It's fine. As Deku comes to realize that he never really knew this, as once again Lady Nagant begins to say that the superpowered society that everyone envisions and admires is just so weak and fragile. And this is very important, because if this translation is accurate, what she's saying is, what do you think will happen if we regain it? History will simply repeat itself. As we get to see an image of the head of the Hero Commission, the chairman of the Hero Commission at that moment, coming to Lady Nagant, offering her possibly the same thing that we see the former current head of the Hero Commission, which is very interesting because we also see her right behind him, and she doesn't have like a very like expressive face, as he's basically telling her, is like, oh, just come into the fold, it's gonna be all right, we'll make you a hero. As we see that this is pretty much exactly what happened with Hawks, and this kind of shows that Lady Nagant was right, that if Hero Society is rebuilt to the same point that it was when it failed, then nothing would change and history would just repeat itself. As she begins to also talk about how someone would need to burden that truth, aka sort of kind of be the pillar of peace like All Might, and that if a world like that were to exist, then a world where All for One has complete control would be far clearer than what we have now. And this is very interesting, because what she said prior is, what do you think will happen if we regain it? Meaning that right now, this kind of confirms the idea that Hero Society as we know it has fallen, and that they're just in this like array of turmoil, showing that, yeah, what happened during the Paranormal Liberation Front War, yeah, that broke Hero Society. Hero Society is broken right now, and there needs to be a way to either fix it or find another way to make all of this a lot better. And frankly, Lady Nagant just believes that, oh yeah, no, Hero Society is just broken, there's no way to fix it, so we might as well just be under control of All for One, because at least then everything would be clear. As she once again begins shooting at Deku once again, but luckily enough, Deku was able to dodge the bullet and is able to use what we're assuming to be one of his new quirks, new moves, specifically Black Whip, where he's like 1 point strike, where he just uses Black Whip all in just one line and aims at Lady Nagant. He misses, but he's able to attach to a building and basically pull himself forward. And I know I may have just glossed over what she was saying about the Hero Commission and how Hero Society is broken, but that's something that I would really need to talk about in its own video instead of this review. So going from Deku launching his Black Whip to try and like get closer to Lady Nagant, he begins to give his own monologue to her, as well as like he doesn't exactly know what is going on, and that he understands that Hero Society is just this wash of like not black and white but gray, but that his purpose, what he wants to do, what he needs to do, is extend a helping hand, because he's seen all the gray, he's seen all the turmoil, so he just wants to extend that helping hand to people. As we get to see images of like Endeavor, of the civilians, of like that one like Weasel lady, showing like Deku is beginning to understand that Hero Society isn't just black and white. and that it needs that shade of gray, and how even with that shade of gray, there still needs to be someone there to extend a helping hand, and that's what he plans on doing. He plans on being that extending hand to helping others, and as we've seen in the story, when someone extends a helping hand to someone, luckily enough, more or less, good things occur from it. But unfortunately, Lady Nagant doesn't believe it. She thinks that his choices and everything is just clouded by the fragility of the Hero Society, and that even though he's moving extremely fast and how she's unable to get a shot out on his joints to permanently put him down, she comes to this realization that, oh man, if this is how it's gonna be, if I can't hit him and he's too fast for my projectiles, then all I have to do is put a greater mental strain on him, as she points her sniper rifle over at Overhaul, as Overhaul is once again screaming that that they're not done, and that he needs to hurry up and get back to the boss. As Deku's like, Chisake? As she's planning on killing him. End of chapter, as we get the line of an old rival appears. Overhaul, the battle is heating up, showing that this battle is still not over, and Deku has to make a choice. He could either go after Lady Nagant, or he could try to save Overhaul. Personally, screw Overhaul. He abused Eri. He deserves death. But unfortunately, he's still a person and you're a hero and you have to save him. Villain or not, Deku, you have to save him. And I think that's what is going to happen next chapter. So, what can I say about this chapter? It was a lot of bombs. Pertaining mainly to Lady Nagant and her backstory in her past, but through her backstory, we get a better understanding of what went on during Hero Society, and it was bad. There was a whole lot of shady stuff. Literally everything that kept Hero Society afloat was done by shady stuff, meaning that not necessarily what All Might did was meaningless. He did play a role. He caused crime to go down. He was the symbol of peace. He was the hero that gave hope to not just other heroes, but to the people. But Lady Nagant was the one that was killing people who were going to possibly be terrorists from doing these heinous acts. She had more blood on her hand than probably any hero. And the Hero Commission was like, yo, this is how we keep this Hero Society peaceful. And when Lady Nagant tried to go against that, she had to kill the former head of the Hero Commission. Basically, this is all showing that, yeah, Hero Society was built on lies. It wasn't built on the back of All Might necessarily, but it was it might have been built on the back of All Might, but it was sustained by lies and death. Which, to be honest, that's kind of every society. But the difference is, we have the ability to know that our government is doing that. The people didn't. The Hero Commission kept it all a secret, swept it under the rug, and look where it got us. People like Shigaraki, like Lady Nagant, like Muscular, falling through the cracks, and yeah, it's biting them in the butt. So what have we learned from this story? That you probably shouldn't fucking lie. Go figure. But yeah, that's not a general idea of it, but if you really dive into it, the fact of the matter is what the Hero Commission was doing was stopping crimes before they were actually happening, killing people before they actually committed a crime, meaning that they technically killed innocent people because they haven't committed a crime. And that could tie into the idea of having thought police, that if you even think about committing a crime, that you could go to jail, or in this case, be killed for thinking about enacting a plan. Because here's the thing, we don't know what their plan was. As far as we know, they could have been a terrorist group, quote unquote, but the crime that they were going to commit or what they were going to do may not have hurt people. Sure, they were going after the heroes, but they could have been leaving the civilians alone. Or heck, maybe they even weren't going to kill the heroes, but maybe capture them. We just don't know. And neither does Lady Nagant, neither does the Hero Commission, because it was all based off assumptions. And that's kind of what her killing was doing. She was doing this all based off assumption. And even when she was given proof of what was going on, instead of okay, they're doing something bad, let's take them in, they're still doing something bad, straight up kill them. They went straight to death, and I think that that is an issue. So we're seeing the darker side of Hero Society that we didn't see prior in the story, and through that darker side, you got the creations of people like Lady Nagant. And frankly, what we're seeing is that Deku really wants to change that, and that he's trying to understand society. And I think what's going to be going on in the next few chapters, because I think that this fight is going to be lasting a lot longer than we thought. I think most likely what we're going to see is Deku trying to save Overhaul, and that may change Overhaul's perception of him, or Overhaul may just be continuously calling for the boss, as now Deku has to focus on not just capturing Lady Nagant, but also making sure that Overhaul doesn't die or get hurt. And I think that this could lead to one or two different situations. Either this leads to Deku eventually being caught, if it means the safety of Overhaul, which could potentially change Lady Nagant's perspective of him, where she comes to the conclusion that, oh, this kid's ideas aren't necessarily built off false society, but it's his own like will. Or it could lead to Deku, through his actions of both saving Shigaraki and taking her down, leading Lady Nagant to come to a realization that, oh, this kid is willing to do all of this for his enemy, not because of Hero Society, but because this is what he wants to do. So either way, I think that within the next few chapters, we're going to get Lady Nagant sort of kind of getting her mind changed by Deku. And if that doesn't be the case, then Deku is going to be taken in by Lady Nagant, and it's going to eventually be a rescue arc to save him. Either one of those is a high possibility. And what do you think is more possible? Do you think that Deku could change Lady Nagant's mind, or do you think that Deku is going to be caught by Lady Nagant? Because all in all, I really enjoyed this chapter, and I really want to hear your thoughts about it in the comments down below. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter right now. Most likely going to make a discussion on this chapter when the actual official translations come out, just to get a little bit more clarification, to get some corrections to possibly what Lady Nagant was actually saying about Hero Society. So I can't wait to do that a little bit later on in the future. So yeah, this was a very good chapter. I really did enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on this video if you like this chapter, as well as if you like this video. Also, hit that subscription button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, BigBlueDrew97, if you like this type of content, as well as hitting that little bell to be notified for whenever I upload. So do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!